We're live again, this time directly on YouTube, which I trust will give us less latency, less interruptions, because it seems that the software that I use to multi-stream absolutely decimates my stream integrity, which makes it so choppy that it might be uncomfortable to watch. So I am starting up another stream in the hopes that it won't be as choppy anymore. You friends, let me know. This doggo is making bunches of noises. So many noise. So much noise. Is this one? No, it's not this one. I think this is the old one. Oh, this thing is just disconnected now. Cool. Okay, it's back and connected again. Smooth as silk. Mojo. What a pleasure it is to hear that. Good. Fantastic. All is well. All is well in the universe when the stream is stable. We're talking today about infinity, but specifically about being stuck smack dab in the middle of it. All right? You misread my chat, was not choppy, you forgot the knot. You know, this is just another example, Joyviv, of how we see sometimes what we think we need to see, right? And for me, stable stream is so much more important than anything. So, and it was not very stable on my side, so I just kind of assumed. I read stream and choppy, all right? Stream choppy, and that's all I needed to see. The knots, the ifs, knots, and whens. Hey! The if, knots, and whens was missed by me. I'm trusting that this will be stable. I'm sure. Pippi wants now attention after I have called them out on being loud. I'm going to be present with you, friends. We are in the middle of infinity, right? This is something that I've battled with and I've discussed in depth in this stream. It definitely is one of those things where I don't think we're getting out. You know, like there is no out of the everything that infinitely is, right? And I mean that literally to the extreme. I don't think there is an escape. I think that's why we try. I didn't know it could be choppy on your end too. Yeah, when I go on to my own stream, I do so with an account that's not mine, so that I can see the stream the way you friends would. But there was nothing wrong with the last stream on my end. Yeah, I don't think there was anything wrong on any one of yours' ends. I was just misreading, actually. I assume because you're the maker. It was always smooth on your end. No, unfortunately not. Might be going up to America and then downloading again to my device kind of thing too. But it being stable now is all that's really important to me, right? In the conversation of everything and in the conversation of the perpetuality of it. I think I missed my train of thought. Damn it, I was going somewhere. I was talking about something. We've talked about it a bunch, yeah. Man, my end is smooth, good. Train of thought lost. Train of thought so lost. I was gonna get somewhere. Oh, it's gonna be meaningful and interesting, totally. Everything. Yeah, there we go. Gobbledygoo, as Gobbledygoo joins in, suddenly I gain 10% more intelligence. Nice. Thanks, Gob. You just brought up the entire average. I'm bringing down the entire average. Love is true. I was talking about, in my mind, about the inability to escape the everything, right? Where what you are, oh shucks, love is true. What you are is the everything, right? On the most fundamental of levels, you are that which is everything. And you cannot hope to escape that. And that's where I was starting to go. And I think that is why we as human beings in this experience try. We try to escape, right? We can do so with substances, we can do so with entertainment, we can do so with extreme sports, we can do so with distractions, we can do so with relationships. There's so many ways to try and escape what reality is. And reality is everything, right? Literally everything. And being that, I feel, is pretty overwhelming, to most people. So we forget. We forget. We stop thinking about it. Riches. We were speaking of riches. We were speaking of riches. Were we? I don't really think so. I think we were speaking of escapism, right? Does being rich give you the capacity to escape? Technically, yes. In some ways, at least. Melt, in your mind, are you always somewhere? I am remembering who I am. Melt, in your mind, are you always somewhere? So many ways of interpreting that question. The way I'm interpreting it first and foremost is in the ways in which I'm not always somewhere. I am always here, but here is more places than somewhere. Or somewhere is more places than here. Because I've been here in many different places. So in that way, I think it depends. It depends on where my focus lies in that moment. If my focus lies primarily on my ego, right, the part of me that thinks about survival, the part of me that thinks about comfort, the part of me that thinks about my environment in a way that it needs to be, right? That part of me definitely is somewhere in my mind. But the part of me that I am, right? The part of the everything that is me, I feel like more of that everything resides in what I will become, right? And that might sound so contrived. So maybe I should clarify about what it is I'm saying. I am aware on a intrinsic level that what I am right now, I want to say the words pales in comparison because it's nice. What I am right now pales in comparison to what I will become, right? Knowing the ambitions I have, knowing the technology that is being developed right now, knowing the access to tools I'll have, knowing that I'll be adventurous or brave, whatever you want to consider it, enough to modify my physical form, be it my biology, literally and physically with gene editing, or be it my brain by giving me, cybernetic cognitive abilities. I'm willing to do stuff like that. And in the willingness to do stuff like that, the thing I will become will be more capable than the thing I am right now. And in that way, and I'm not saying this is a good thing, right? Actually, the contrary. But in that way, I am very aware of the fact that I am not nearly as capable as I'm supposed to be, or as capable as I will be. So, again, in that way, it's almost like I am existing more there. There's more of me to exist there than there is of me that exists now. Right? Then all I can do for this me that exists now is take care. I can make sure that this me doesn't perish immediately. And if I can ensure that, then I can become more, right? But a part of that, ensuring that this thing doesn't perish, it's a slog, right? It's hard work. It's day to day, having to exercise, day after day, having to eat food, day after day, having to sleep and wash my body and brush my teeth, right? Like it is a day by day by day by day thing. And it goes on to our extreme, to our minds forever, never ending, right? Maybe that's why I exist more in the future than I do right now. It's because I don't particularly enjoy all the parts of being human, right? The fact that I have to eat food is probably one of my least favorite parts of humanity, right? I enjoy food, admittedly. I can find joy in the eating of food, but the fact that I have to, don't like that. Doesn't bring me joy. Doesn't bring me joy to understand and know that if I don't consume calories, I'll die. I'll cease to exist. All right. So yeah, I don't know if that helped clarify, but yeah, I don't want to escape reality anymore. I numbed for too long. I'm still working on getting the present back, learning from past and building the future. I was very disconnected from my intuition, and I'm slowly getting it back. So proud of you, Zano. Hopefully the pain of childbirth will bring me the feeling of life again. Sure. I'm sure it will, Zano. So many things to be said in a moment like that, but I'm sure it will. Sounds kind of sad, yeah. That's how it sounded to me. That's why I said like there's so many things like, but I'm sure it will bring life to you, dear friend. Pain helps me sometimes. Yeah, I don't think you'll be allowed escape in the middle of that moment. You'll have to be present. Life is wild indeed, Dream Tooth. Life is very, very wild. But again, it is infinite, right? Maybe life isn't. Maybe we can think about that as well, right? That beingness, I believe, is infinite, right? But life might not be. And again, what is life? Do you consider a angel, let's call it an angel, or a devil, or a demon, right? Or an alien, or a cosmological plasma being? Are all of those things still life, right? If you had to stumble upon the archangel sitting around a table, would you conclude that they are alive? Even though all of them would exist outside of your physical reality and not occupy physical, breathing, energy burning, oxidizing bodies, right? To me, life in that way is very much the things that are living, the things that can die. Life are the things that can die. And I don't think beingness dies. So in my mind, it's not life. Right? Right? I think if you find your why, you understand your place in things, how the pressure is off, but the next phase of life comes, I guess. I don't know how to finish that sentence. Yeah. Finding my why. Hello? Matches. That thing is not working. Okay. You're welcome. Yeah. Our consciousness is immoral, is immortal. I believe this too, right? And again, is consciousness life? I don't think so. I don't think something has to be conscious to be considered life. Like there's a bunch of alive things around me all the time, especially with the amount of dogs and cats we have. Right? And these things look at me, and I do believe that they have consciousness in them. And I do believe the same consciousness that is me is them too. Right? But I don't think they have the same cognition that I do. Right? Metacognition. They don't think about, they're thinking about. I don't think. All right. Am I the metaing cognition right now? Dreamtooth, I'm still thinking about your question of do you always feel like you're somewhere? I feel like my answer gave me enough room to answer how I feel about it at the very least. Where does the light go when you choose? Where does the light go when you close your eyes? I mean, it flies up against the lids of your eyes. All right, light is both particle and wave. It's a particle that's flying off of whatever it's flying off of as a wave. So light existed before your eyes. So light continues to exist even when you close your eyes. The only time I didn't feel like I was somewhere were being in a float tank. I loved it. I think that's very apt. I think that might be the one time I was not somewhere as well. All right. I've also been in the float tank, and it very much was, at least to me, akin to death, akin to what I imagine the 5-MeO experience would be like. There was complete dissolution of self. There was just me being in complete absence of information. Pitch black darkness, floating in silence. And yet still, in the middle of that nowhere, somewhere wasn't really a thing for me because I was here. As here as I am right now, I was there. Right? And I think that's the thing that we're talking about, is that infinity. That thing is the thing that is infinite. That thing is the thing that does not cease, that does not stop. It literally continues indefinitely. And you are that. Right? Like I think that's the like the holy shit that I'm trying to get us all at. Is that you are that. You are the thing, you are the quintessential thing that we would assign infinite value to. That we would assign, significance to, importance to, awe to. You are that. You are literally that. Seeing the light is DMT, and your body helping you transition into the everything. That is an interesting fractal as well. Seeing the light is DMT. I don't know if I completely agree, but I don't completely disagree either. Right? Dopamine. So your Adderalls and your methamphetamines and your cocaines, they act on dopamine. It's the hormone that gives you motivation, right? Gives you willpower, rewards you for accomplishing a task. And then serotonin is the part of you that extracts information from this world. So if I suddenly didn't use my face to express anything and I just talked to you like this, it wouldn't exactly be enjoyable to watch me because you're not receiving the same level of serotonin that you would from my facial expressions. And then in that line of argument, DMT is perception. DMT is perception to me, right? So in the same way that dopamine can affect your willpower, can affect your self-confidence, and serotonin can affect your information processing and information reception, DMT changes your perception, right? Both of self, of your willpower, of where you are in this whole, and also of the information you are receiving in that moment, right? Like it is an all-encompassing kind of lever that if you move it, things change a lot. Suddenly you are privy to information, privy to perspective, aware of what you've not been perceiving that is right around you and always. All right, like the light. As soon as you close that version of your eyes, that light doesn't cease to exist. You are just unaware of it. I also think the light you see is the sun. Then you come back and become plant and energy and you start over. We are all gods. Oh yeah. Zano is a plasmoid spirit. Zano is a beloved friend indeed. Wish I could photosynthesize. Even though it would be cool, Mojo, the amount of skin surface area you would need to photosynthesize the appropriate amount of energy to supplement your body would be absurd. You would have to be some sort of creature that like unfolds itself like a lily pad onto the ground, and you would have to lay there in the sunlight for multiple hours at a time. I'm not exactly sure about the numbers, but I'm pretty sure about my retort. Me and my friends are having a conversation about photosynthesizing and how cool it would be to, as a human body, be able to photosynthesize. I am arguing, however, that you would need way too much like skin surface area to be able to produce enough energy. Do we have any mathematics to back that up? Do help me stand my point. Maybe it could just be like an extra little snack, Mojo, right? As you're walking around photosynthesizing, it's just like, I like this photosynthesis we're having today. Zano, you should go for Kriya Yoga. Like it's offered by different centers. I think she would actually appreciate that. She did practice some yoga with us in our class as well. Adequate energy requirements. It's thinking about it. Calculating sunlight's yield. It's really thinking about it. Yeah, see. Mapping sunlight's impact. How long is this thing thinking for? I went to Cali to learn, to meditate. It was profound. Siobhan went to California for her yoga teachings as well. It definitely is a hub for that kind of worldview. So daily human energy requirements is about 2,000 dietary calories, which in joules, which is how we apparently measure our sunlight, would be 8.37 times 10 to the power of 6 joules per day, where 1 watt is 1 joule per second. And over a full day, you might have similar ballpark numbers. The solar power incident on the body. Hey, Yudi. Hey, bro, can you stop, please? He's licking his foot. There we go. Solar irradiance. He's doing the, I'm not licking really, he's like, and it's making sounds. They're driving me insane. Solar power incidence on incendent Incident on the body. Solar radiance, 100 watt per square meter of sunlight hits a surface. Human skin area is about 2 meters squared. Sunlight would have to heat 12 hours. Oh, okay, so that's not too bad. You would have to spend like 12 hours a day, completely naked, the sun hitting you from every single direction. I mean, still, you would still starve eventually, but right now, you would get about like 619 kilojoules, no, kilocalories per day. So you'll still be like 1,400 deficient. They didn't really give me the math I was looking for. But yeah, you would need more skin. You would need a lot more skin, otherwise you wouldn't be okay. Pepe, stop it. I am aware of the everything around me. And I am particularly sensitive. I think there is a delicate balance where our soul energy goes. It's not balanced by anything because it just is. But I think some go to the sun, some go to the moon, and some flow through torus fields. I believe this too, interestingly enough, actually, Zano. I believe that you are the pillar of a torus field, right? You are that centering point, the portal, if you will, through which the energy flows. And then out from you, a torus field is created. And that torus field can almost be seen as your mapped reality, right? Like the torus field that is around you almost embeds your reality, right? You can think of it like a screen, a matrix, however you want to use, right? And in that way, the energy is ceaselessly flowing through you, but you are participating in an environment, right? That torus field analogy is more a exercise of mindfulness. And if you've gone down the hemisync tapes rabbit hole, you'll gain a lot of perspective and experience with that stuff too. Be there. Meow Meow, did you get to see Yogananda Meditation Gardens? Did you? I hope so. I think those are just beginning stages though. Then the next stage in the reincarnation is plants, then microbes, bugs, and so on. I don't know if I believe in reincarnation, right? Because again, reincarnation suggests, at least in my mind, a kind of linear thinking, right? Where I think more cyclically and as a whole, right? So you're not really reincarnating as much as you are existing in the middle of infinity forever, right? Everything, every single perspective, every single observer in existence is the center of infinity, right? Like it is a multidimensional thing because it doesn't make sense to us living in a 3D world that there can be multiple centers. What do you mean, Melt? If I am in the center, then you can't be in the center because both of us can't be in the center, yet the center is what we are, right? The middle of the infinity is what we are. As above, so below. Right? And it's almost like that version of us that occupies that space exists in, I believe, the fifth dimension. And there's a way to reason about that as well, you know? I kind of enjoy this reasoning pattern because it illuminates potentially, and maybe I'll like open a language model to listen to us on the sidelines to see what it thinks. We'll use one of the more advanced models as well. So let's consider why I believe we are already five-dimensional beings. First and foremost, we can acknowledge that we live in a 3D world, right? All of us occupy 3 dimensions of space. And in these three dimensions of space, we can move, right? So there's another dimension of time, right? Again, the three dimensions that we exist as bodies, and then the fact that we can look at our hand as it moves through the dimension of time in this three-dimensional reality of space. And the fact, at least to me, that I can be aware of both my 3D physical embodiment and my ability to move in it means that the thing that I am is actually existing in the fifth dimension and not in this one. How do you like them apples? How do you like them apples? Let's see. This thing is going to reason for a while. It is one of the more advanced reasoning models, so it thinks for a couple of seconds sometimes. It gives you like a little thingy of like, I'm thinking about it like this, I'm thinking about it like that, thinking about this one, and I'm thinking like this, considering like so. Heck yeah, this is a great question. This is great questioning. Love the dimensions. Blessing. It is interesting, right? Like when you parse it like that, when you reason it through and you consider the fact that you're aware of four dimensions below you, you know. And then again, there can be dimensions higher than you as well. And when you tune completely into the fifth dimension, right, when you're almost like all mind, you suddenly have access to dimensions higher again than just the fifth dimension of where mind is encapsulated almost. Yeah, Yogananda's words be like a lucky bamboo to all who read them. Good wind. Love is true. Okay, the idea you posed is intriguing, and it seems you're blending insights from both physics and philosophy to argue for an extra dimension beyond the usual three dimensions of space and the one of time that reflect our conscious awareness. Let's break down some of your points. 3 spatial dimensions plus time. In conventional physics, everyday reality is modeled as 4-dimensional space-time. 3 spatial dimensions, length, height, and width, plus 1 time dimension. This framework describes how physical objects move and interact. The role of conscious awareness. You suggest that the very act of observing your hand move, being aware of both its position in space and its evolution over time, implies an existence or perspective that transcends these 4 dimensions. In other words, your consciousness isn't simply embedded in the physical fabric of space-time, it seems to operate from a vantage point that is outside or above. Yes, that framework, that's exactly what I'm saying. The extra layer of self-awareness is what you're identifying as the 5th dimension, interpreting dimensions. In physics, dimensions are typically understood as independent parameters that describe a system's states, as in coordinates in space-time. The 5th dimension in many physical theories, like certain models in string theory, is usually a spatial one that is compactified or hidden from everyday perception. Yeah, you can't see my mind, right? You cannot see how big the world is inside here, right? So it's invisible to you in that way. This dimension that I'm in. It usually is a spatial one that is compactified or hidden from everyday perception. However, in your argument, the 5th dimension appears to be less about another physical direction, and it could be, and more about the qualitative aspect of being able to reflect upon one's existence, essentially a meta level of consciousness or self-awareness. Philosophical and metaphysical perspectives. Psychologically, philosophically, some thinkers have long argued that our subjective experience, like the inner life or consciousness, is not fully captured by the physical dimensions. From this viewpoint, the act of self-reflection, the awareness that we are observing events in time and space, might suggest an existence on a different level, a dimension of consciousness. Your ideas resonate with the line of thought proposing that our true nature isn't confined solely to the physical 3 plus 1 dimensions, but includes an additional existential or experiential dimension. Considerations and counterpoints. I do want some counterpoints. Physical versus experiential dimensions. One might argue that being aware of your 3D body moving through time does not necessarily require a new physical dimension. Rather, it reflects the complex integration of sensory data and cognitive processes within the known dimensions. Yeah, so like that's the argument for when you combine a bunch of inputs, right? Like I have the input of sight, and I have the input of sound, and I have the input of my body, and I have the input of air, and I have the input of food, and I have the input of water, and I have the input of sleep, and then eventually arises this complex system that is the human being, right, from it. However, I think one comes before the other, right? I think the complexity is there, and then the human almost rises to the occasion, right? Like, took us a lot of time to get to being humans, and we're still not there yet, wherever it is we're going. Infinitely. Scientific evidence. Currently, there is no empirical evidence in mainstream physics that consciousness occupies a distinct fifth dimension. I wasn't saying that there should be scientific evidence. Like, we don't even know what consciousness is as science. Like, all right, you're gonna fucking talk about. Yeah, no, it doesn't exist in the fifth dimension. It's like, but do you know what it is? This thing that you don't think exists in the fifth? No, but we're pretty sure it doesn't. Okay. Uh, there is no evidence in mainstream physics that consciousness occupies a distinct fifth dimension in the same way that space and time are defined. Instead, extra dimensions in physics, if they exist, are often mathematical constructs that do not correspond directly to our subjective experience. Different definitions. The term dimension can have multiple meanings. In mathematical physics, it's a coordinative parameter. In metaphysical discussion, it might refer to levels of experience or reality. Recognizing this helps clarify that your argument operates on a different plane than that of traditional physical theories. It is. It is. In summary, your argument is that because you can both exist as a three-dimensional body and be aware of its progression through time, that there is an additional dimension at play, a dimension of awareness or consciousness. This is a viewpoint that has been explored in various spiritual and physical traditions. Nice. Even if it doesn't align neatly with the standard definition used in physics. Ultimately, your perspective invites us to consider whether our conscious experience represents an aspect of reality that isn't fully captured by the four-dimensional space-time model. It's a thought-provoking idea that sits at the intersection of science, philosophy, metaphysics, and it challenges us to think more deeply about the nature of existence and perception. Yeah, right back to perception. And I do believe that DMT messes with your perception. Because again, suddenly having more perception, now time, right? If you perceive more iteratively in this same moment suddenly to you seems infinitely long. Oh, wow! It's almost like time isn't real. However, your perception is. But your perception can be made hyper real depending on the inputs you give yourself. Right? Literally tuning yourself into higher dimensionality can make this reality feel like it's crawling, right? Crawling on. And it's a forever still. In a way, it's more forever. Everything's forever, but this one is even more forever because it's slow. I am partly joking, but that kind of is the world we're in, you know. And some of us might argue that that's what we wanted. We wanted to chillax a little bit. We wanted to have it slow. And now we're just like caught up in the craziness again. Silly us, we human beings. Heck yeah, this is great questioning. Bless. 1D, wisdom is Brahman. 2D, I am Brahman. 3D, thou art that. 4D, the self is Brahman. Nothing exists, no self-seeking allowed or prohibited. Yeah, you don't exist. right? And again, that is something that took me so long to understand as a concept. What do you mean I don't exist? I would ask these philosophers. What do you mean? Here I am. Of course I exist. Of course. But that's not the teaching, right? The teaching isn't arguing, the understanding of your non existence isn't arguing that your flesh and blood doesn't exist. It's not arguing that your impact in this world is null and void. It is, however, arguing that what you think you are, right? If you think you are something, and it can be the best of the best and it can be the worst of the worst, that thing, your thinking exists, doesn't. All right? That is the philosophy. That is the teaching. Is that you don't exist, not as you think you do. That what existence is, what you actually are, always has been. All right? And this ego, this perspective, this momentary blip of consciousness with hopes and dreams and perspectives and opinions exists only to you, right? And it exists differently, right? For instance, if I had to describe a object, right? And I describe this object to you as it has like sharp little points and it's blue and it's super squishy, right? And I ask you to go and look for something. But the perception that the next person, right? Like I tell you this thing, this object, sharp, purple, squishy, it's there somewhere. And then you go there somewhere. And then you meet a person there somewhere and you go, oh, person, I'm looking for this thing. Apparently it's supposed to be purple and spiked and squishy. And they go, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have never seen once in my life something purple, spiked, and squishy. I've never seen that. However, I have seen this yellow, looking like it has hair blob, right? I think I'm losing you. I'm sorry, I'm losing you a little bit. The point I'm trying to make is the perception, right, of what it is you're looking for from one person to the next can be so radically different that you might not find the thing you're looking for in the first place. And in fact, you never can. Because the thing you think you are right now will also not be 10, 20 years from now, right? So even to yourself, you don't even exist to yourself, technically, ultimately, eventually. You don't even exist to yourself as you are right now, right? And it's like a whole thing. It's a whole thing to consider. And as soon as you do, and as soon as you can come to a state of almost like peace in non-existence in that way, it gives you some freedom. It lets you off the hook. It's like, okay, you can take a breath. You don't exist. So breathe. Just like take a breath quickly. In Hindu, they've got so many stories of man. They have the idea to just keep including other ideas as a sister idea, the origin. Am I looking for a person or am I looking to a person? I think you are looking as a person. Right? That's what you are doing. You are looking as a person. Don't look to a person. Don't look for a person. Look as a person into this world and see. See for yourself. See for yourself. The experience of time is different for everyone, like a fingerprint. Yeah, my experience of time is faster than it is for most people. I have been told this. And it's not many people that have known this about me. So the people that have told me it made me feel very seen. Right? And they were willing to meet me halfway as well. They were willing to be patient with me as I experienced the same time more than I need to, right? Because, like, to give you this as an idea, I almost primarily, right, and I mean literally 85%, if not more. 85% is my conservative estimate. I watch 85% of my content at 2 times speed, right? It's so bad that I have mapped to my mouse my one button. I have 3 programmable buttons on the side of my mouse. The first button is +5 or skip 5 seconds. The 2 buttons are integers, right? Make it 0.25 faster, make it 0.25 slower. And as soon as I open a video, that button gets pressed, right? Oh yes, let's listen to this information exchange at twice the normal rate. And that to me is comfortable, right? I find comfort in being able to absorb information at that rate. And I even at 2 times speed, I'll still hit the button, right? Like itching, like trying to get more. Like, why can't I get 3 times speed? If there was a 3 times speed, I would be watching things at 3 times speed, probably. And again, I don't think that's good. I don't think I remember as much as I could because of that as well. But it's not about remembering, because it's everything, right? Like, remembering everything is pretty futile, if you think about it from that perspective too. That would be because time is a framing device and is not actually real. Yeah, it's true. It's just how we understand change. I believe as soon as we start putting chips in our brains and we start manipulating our neurochemistry to a very high level of precision and scientific degree, we are going to extend not only our human lifetimes, but we're going to extend our daylight. All right. Like, suddenly you're going to experience what feels like 40 hours in a day. Right. You'll be able to get done what a 40-hour day would expect of you before. And that is not always a good thing. Right. Again, admittedly, our sensory sound interpreters. Yes. The framing device. One more time for me, Hoopy. Brain can't. Time goes away when I'm sick with the mania and psychosis. Time goes away when you die too. Isn't that interesting? Time ceases to be when your physical form does. Because time, as you experience it right now, as Zano has said, is like a fingerprint. It's related to this. All right. This thing that I am has experienced time very fast. So I had to grow. I had to think about things. I had to absorb information that took me far, if that makes sense, right? Because of how quickly my mind is iterating and thinking about the next thing, thinking about the next thing, thinking about the next thing. I had to almost find the information from my reality that would serve me, that would be valuable, that would be useful, right? And I think in doing so, in feeling so obsessive about that drive, it aged me, right? Psychologically. It made me older than I was supposed to be in my age groups. And as a result, I didn't feel like I was getting along well with them, unfortunately. This thing got burnt. What a great shame. What an absolute shame that is. I'm gonna have to clean it. Instantly, my brain is skizzed. we're gonna consider time. Man, oh, my sandal got stolen by the dog. Oh, that's so rough. Oh, your baby. Oh, your baby, good baby. Oh, your baby, baby. Oh, it's your baby. Such a cute baby, yeah. Such a cutie cutie. Look at those eyes. You got the most sweetie eyes. Yo, such a sweetie. Oh, so sweeties. So cute and beauty, daddy. Yo, so cute. Oh, so sweetie. All right, at last, salutations, Melt. You on your way, dream? Bless you, friend. We'll see you again soon. The fast forward part of our nervous system giving, not just any finger. Look at us, huh? Existing. Isn't that surreal? That's pretty wild to me. Both of us here in existence together. Yeah, that is pretty wild. Oh, scratches, scratches. Okay, let's go get the cleaning kit. Jump. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. Ooh, I can show you, friends, something else too. I'll show you two other things, in fact, because I did make two of them. No! This thing was pulling loose a little bit. It's not perfect, but it is mine. All right. So, I've shown you this cleaning kit before. This is a sticker that Daniel, one of my yoga students, sent me. And then, this is one of the stickers that I made, both having them printed and, of course, the actual process. But with this being a little bottle of alcohol, you can see it's cracking the sticker as it slowly leaks. So, not good. Good lesson to learn, though. And then, over the last few days, I've been making these. Well, yeah, technically the last 2 days. I've got more stickers. Jovan is the one who brought me these ones, all the way from America, so I can beautify these things. I like the way this one turned out. This is technically 3 different stickers. There's one in the middle, and then this is technically one sticker, and then this is technically one sticker that got cut up in pieces so that it can fill up the entire backside. Maybe you can see it like that if I show me the light. Oh, and then I made another one too. This one got finished today. I'm gonna leave these parts blue. I do like that blue. It's a nice blue. And then protection has arrived. This used to be like little earplugs that I had, little box. And I just thought, like, it did actually happen by accident. When I stick this sticker, it was like exactly on that line. And then I stuck these two, and it just so happened to create like a gap in there. And then I just didn't stick it all the way to the top of this one. But yeah, it has like a small little piece of spongy in there. This part's gonna stay mostly blue. Of course, that inside too. Yeah. And then this is like a small piece that I had to like fill up with a bunch of other offcuts. Still looks cool, even though it's not perfect. MeltMore making things. Yeah. Super fun. Super fun making things pretty. And creating little boxes to keep things in. So lovely, of course. Kristen's here too. You friends supporting my work. Like, if not for you, Kristen, and your friends' support, I wouldn't have all of these pieces of art to turn into stuff like this. One more time, one more like reveal shot. Oh. Now, what I want to do is, ideally, I would want to get the same kind of color in material, and then I would like to tuck some material almost like back into that, so it has like a material top, but still has the little sponge. I did think about removing the piece of sponge, but the piece of sponge is like a 1/4 inch thick, very thin, relatively very thin. It doesn't take up that much room from the actual box, you see. Like it takes maybe that much, which is enough, right? It's enough for it to be left. Maybe it could be nice having a soft bottom little box. I'm chilling. A creative we. Wow, love is true. So cool. Your stickers lend so well to that. It really does. Right? Like, I feel like it's, in a way, almost something that I would like to offer as a service eventually. Right? I can make you a little box. Bring me your box and I'll turn it psychedelic. This I can do. Right, then again, it's, for me, like, I am obviously obsessed. Obviously. All right, like every single one of my objects will be turned into a canvas for pieces of art. Every single thing. And this was just like kind of an experiment for me now. I do kind of like the open blue pieces too. Right? It does bring me some level of satisfaction. You can of course see the pieces that got mirrored. Not all of them went perfectly, but it was fun. It takes longer than you'd expect, right? Like, this is still like hours worth of work. So in that way, who knows if it's worth it. I know love is true though. I'm happy that I got to show you, friends. Now it's time for me to clean this thing. That is what I want to do. I'm running out of Q-tips. Slowly but surely too. I think that's everyone. I need to start up the next one actually. I'm gonna do that. I appreciate your friends for appreciating my things. This moment, for us showing up again. I'm gonna start up the horizontal one. I'll see you friends in a moment. Love yous. Thinking about you. See you soon.